Oh wow, I only got 8 minutes on my phone. So, hey everyone. So I'm here in Dover Foxcroft. I'm literally sitting in traffic because of the Maine Whoopie Pie Festival, and that's where I'm trying to go. But there's so many people going and attending that it is going to be really crowded. And this is why I don't like going to the Dover Foxcroft Whoopie Pie Festival, because it's so crowded. And it's crazy. But I'll show you how crowded it is when I finally get there. So, I'm still sitting in traffic, unfortunately. Creeping along. But I gotta remember, and I have to learn, but if I ever want to come to the Whoopie Pie Festival here in Dover Foxcroft, I should at least arrive or leave the house a little bit earlier than 9:30. Because once you get here to Dover, past 10 o'clock, you got a line of traffic waiting to go into the fairgrounds. Now, the Dover Foxcroft Whoopie Pie Festival usually happens on a street back there, right on Main Street. They usually have it there, but this year they're having it at the fairgrounds because they are working on the road back there where they usually have it. But anyway, so I'm still sitting in traffic, I should say, and I'm just creeping along. I'll get there eventually. Finally made it to somewhat the entrance of the Whoopie Pie Festival here in Dover. I'm realizing that there's traffic coming both directions. So I'm going this way, and there's traffic on the other side coming this way. So no wonder it's taking so long to get into the Whoopie Pie Festival. There's just so many people here. And like I said, I gotta remember that if I want to come to an event like this, you gotta leave early. If you don't, you're gonna end up in traffic like I am. So, but maybe next year I'll learn. Who knows? I don't know. But about that though, the reason why I'm doing this, the reason why I'm here at Dover Foxcroft at the Maine Whoopie Pie Festival is not because that I like whoopie pies. It's because this is a huge event here in a great town, and brings a lot of people out, and not just people but families and what have you. And I want to get into event photography. I want to be able to go to events and get photographs of people, and getting photographs of people enjoying the day, families, stuff like that. I know that doesn't really explain a whole lot, but what I want to say is that I want to do event photography because it's something to remember. People will look back at those photos of those events and say, well, wow, I went there a long time ago. I remember that. Or, hey, I remember that ride. I don't know how to explain it. I just don't know how. But I want to do event photography. I know that for sure. So, as I mentioned, I was trying to explain it, but I want to do, like I said, event photography. So basically what that means is going to events a little bit earlier than what I planned to originally come to, and get photos of stuff during the event, like an air show. I like getting pictures of airplanes flying in motion, flying up in the air, doing their acrobats. I also want to go to Comic-Con and get photos at Comic-Con. I'm going to be going there to a Comic-Con in November in Bangor. So I want to try to get photos of the event, of just people having fun, making memories, stuff like that. Basically, that's what it's all about. It's all about making memories, and I want to get and capture photos of people having fun during their time at an event, and looking back at that event and say, hey, I remember when I went there, or hey, I went there with my family. I remember that. I had a good time. And just a piece of history too, because sometimes when you're at an event and you take a photo of something, you realize, oh yeah, I remember when Stan's French fries were at the fair and now they're not there no more, and then you got a photo of Stan's French fries in your bedroom because you remember Stan's French fries. So, hopefully you get the point. Well, I finally made it to the Maine Whoopie Pie Festival in Dover. I'm gonna get out. I have got to use the bathroom really bad, and hopefully things will go great. All right. And the other thing too, as I was coming in, yeah, there's a lot of people here, but you know what? I'm gonna enjoy the day, and I'm gonna go enjoy the day and get some really great shots.
Down. Tomato.
So I'm here at the door of Foxcroft, Maine Whoopie Pie Festival of 2025. It's kind of crowded here. I just got done going through the whoopie pie section. There's quite a lot of people in the whoopie pie sections waiting to taste test samples and buy whoopie pies and interact with people. So right now I'm going through the vendor section, just checking them all out. I bought a couple of whoopie pies. I bought about 4, which wasn't too bad of a price, and they're big size pies. Got my dad a Moxie flavored whoopie pie, which hopefully he'll like. So I just figured I'd do a little update video and go from there. However, there was a couple. There was a man and a wife and what looked like their son. And the son had a drone, and he also had a camera. And it looked like him and his family were doing interviews. And that was something I was like, I really wish I could do that. But I'm probably not really into that. So, anyways, so now I'm heading back to the beginning. I'm just looking at all the vendors still. And, yeah. Anyways, so Whoopie Pie Festival 2025. So like I was saying about the guy, I noticed that there was a guy here today that was selling photos. He's got photos that are set for $125 for like a plate photo. Like it was a plate, but it was a photo. And he also had some photos in baskets. Didn't see what kind of prices they were, but maybe I'll go back and look just to kind of identify what kind of prices I can make with my photographs. And a lot of them were in plastic sleeves, which that's something I don't do. I'm trying to put my pictures in frames. That way they are already ready to be hung on the wall. So I do, however, have got to work on putting together a couple of picture frames together and putting wire back. So like I was saying in that video before it ended and before I ran out of time on my phone, I want to take some photos that I have hanging in the back of the hallway here. And I want to pick one of those photos to be judged at the Skowhegan State Fair. And one of the requirements about that is you got to have a framed photo with a wire backing. That way they're able to hang it on the wall in their gallery. And so that way it can be judged. I've been wanting to do this for quite some time now, and I just really haven't I want to say I really haven't had the for the energy or the going of actually doing it. I don't know why. I procrastinate and then I don't get around doing it. But anyways, but I've been at the Skowhegan State Fair and I've seen a lot of the people with photographs that they have there being judged, and a lot of the photos that I see there are really great, are really, really good photos and really good captures. But so I got photos in the hallway that are worth to be judged, but they're also worth selling. So anyways, which goes to my next segue of what I want to say. So while I was at the Whoopie Pie Festival, and I'll tell you a little bit more about how it went, but there was a gentleman there who was selling his photos, and like I was saying in the video before, and he had photos there that were in baskets and that were in sleeves. Let me show you. This is an example of a photo in a sleeve. He had a bunch of these made up, and he had prices on the back of them, and he also wrote on the back of them where the photos were taken and the price, and then on the front he put a signature on the front right there, and on the back he put his price and the location of where the photo was taken. He had a bunch of these different sizes. The size for this one, he said, and it was asking for about $30 just for this. I would probably mark it down as 25 maybe, just so you know. This picture is taken in Newport. But anyways, so he was selling these for about $30. I would sell it for about 20, 25. He had other sizes too, which he invested his time in buying and purchasing and putting them together. But his asking price for those photos were like 20, 25. Big ones are 30. he had a bunch of other photos that he made into like coasters and postcard. I think he had postcards, but what I saw was a coaster. Then on a rack, he had photos that he's taken, which were really great shots. They really were, and but they were on plates. It looked like a plate, like a not a brass plate, but like a metal plate or a canvas plate. I don't know how do you want to say it. But he was asking the price for about $125 just for a plated picture. I'm not paying that much just for a picture to be hung that's plated and glossy. I'm not going to do it. I thought when I first got into photography, I thought buying these matted photo frames would be a seller kicker. Would be like, hey, here's a photo, buy it, and then you can frame it yourself. Let me show you something else. Okay. So over here, this is what I was talking about. I have a bunch of framed photos that are all ready to be sellable at a craft fair for a good amount of price. Okay, I have a variety. I have a train here that was coming through Pittsfield. I have a photo here of the shoe factory that was torn down to be put into another building. Let me rephrase that. It's a building of a shoe factory in Pittsfield, Maine that got demolished and was replaced for a medical product manufacturer that is now sitting and residing there. Ironically, I work there. But I mean, and then this photo right here, this is a photo of the Heartland Consolidated School before it was torn down to put in an apartment complex for retirees, I guess you could say. And funny thing about this picture is someone emailed me about this picture and they wanted to print it off and put it in the main hallway. But this is a piece of history right here because this place was torn down. And of course, I got a picture of the Thunderbirds. This is a really great shot that I took at their air show last year, which was a really great show. This is the Thunderbirds. These are the first. That was the first time I ever got to see the Thunderbirds live, and these are one of the best pictures that I've gotten so far of the Thunderbirds. And classic airplanes going through from WW2, which was a really great shot. And here's another good shot of the Thunderbirds right there. Now, I'm not sure about the asking price, but I would say about $40 to $35 for these framed photos. And then I got another photo right here, which is a photo of the tannery here in the town of Heartland. Now, the tannery actually closed about a couple of years ago due to COVID. And they closed. And this is a good picture of a historical picture right here. Because eventually they're going to tear down this side of the building and keep this side of the building. Because this side is not so bad, but that side of the building was really bad. Piece of history right there. Of course, then you got a village store, country store that you don't normally see around here. And of course, you see the little gas pumps. Then I decided to take a picture of the Tilt-A-Whirl. And then you got Stan's French Fries. Stan's French Fries are actually there at the Whoopie Festival this year, which was surprising. But yeah, I mean, someone could see this photo and say, hey, I remember Stan's French Fries. They were a really great place there was a really great, how do you want to call it? A really good vendor for French fries, and they only use fresh potatoes. So someone will buy this and say, hey, I used to eat them, or if they ever go out of business, I still have a photo of them. But anyways, then you got the Tilt-A-Whirl, like I said. Then you got the Ferris wheel. Someone told me that they liked this photo, but they thought it would look better in black and white. But I'm actually going to reframe it and get a colored one in there, because who really wants a black and white photo of a Ferris wheel? I mean, really, you want to see the colors. So, and who doesn't like sunflowers? I got a bee in there too. You see the bee? And of course, it gets a really nice country frame for that. And I'm asking for about $40 for this photo. I mean, it's a really great shot. And then I got random shots of the winter scenes right through here. Picture of a house. This house was taken when I was at Rockwood, I think it was. And this is Mount Kineo and Rockwood. Got another picture of it right here, which is a great shot. This was during the springtime. And then I got up here, the carousel. I mean, that's a great shot. You know, who wants a picture like this? I mean, it's memories. It's like, oh, I remember when my mom took me on this ride. It was really fun. So yeah. But these are all my pictures that I've taken so far, and I got a whole bunch more that I got to print off. Anyways, that was a tour of my photos. I also do collages. Let me show you a collage I've done. I'm currently working on right now. Working on a collage that is Nickelodeon themed. And I'm kind of going back to when Nickelodeon started out back in the 80s, on the late 80s, early 90s. And I got a whole bunch of shows here from the 90s. You got Clarissa Explains It All. You got Hair. You got Are You Afraid of the Dark? I got Rugrats, Keenan and Kel, Drake and Josh, Legends of the Hidden Temple, Figure It Out, Wild and Crazy Kids, The Adventures of Pete and Pete, which is a show that I really liked watching growing up, Cat Dog. I mean, you got all these wonderful shows that you used to watch as a kid. You know, I'm still not done with it yet. I'm going to ask for about 50 to 60 bucks for this collage. And then meters in. I like making collages. They're really fun. They're really fun to put together. And it's a work in progress. So I'm going to do more collages like this. I'm going to do smaller collages. Get a smaller frame. But I'm going to do other collages that are referenced to, like, say, Disney, ABC. Like, when I was a kid growing up, I didn't have cable back then. But during Saturday morning cartoons, ABC would put shows on for Saturday morning cartoon for kids. Some of the shows that I remember as a kid growing up when I was watching ABC is Pepper Ann, Bump in the Night, One Saturday Morning, Disney's Doug, and a whole bunch of other shows that I can't quite remember. But I want to be able to make smaller collages that have themes like Disney, ABC, CBS, PBS, Cartoon Network, TBS, you know, all these other theme shows. And I got thinking about also, I was going into work one day and I thought about TGIF, and people don't remember what TGIF is for a Friday night on ABC. TGIF was basically, thank God it's Friday. But TGIF basically on Friday nights would play Family Matters, Step by Step, Boy Meets World, The Dinosaurs. And I want to create a themed collage in TGIF of those shows. And have people come by and be like, hey, I remember TGIF when it was a thing back then in the day. You know, like, yeah, you know, we never had streaming like this before. You know, it was classic, TGIF. Perfect Strangers was another good show to watch, too. But anyways, so I'm kind of going down on a rabbit hole here. But anyways, so I want to go, what was I saying? How was I saying it? I lost my train of thought. When I do collages, oh, that's where I started. Okay, so anyway, so this guy was selling his photos, and they were selling them on the paper backings for $30. But one day my dad's like, well, why don't you get a bunch of frame photos together and sell them that way? Because people are not going to want to buy a photo and have to buy the frame for it too. And, you know, I was like, yeah, he kind of has a point. So I went ahead and bought frames for the photos, and hopefully I can sell them for about 30 to 40 bucks, depending on which price is negotiable. And I also got to work on getting smaller prints of photos, which I got to get a smaller print and matte backing for these photos for the 4x10s like this size. Yes, it's Life with Loopy. How many of you remember this show? So I got to get smaller 4x6s envelopes, and I got to get frames for those too. I'm still building out my inventory for how I want to sell these photos and how I want to present myself and sell them. You know, eventually I want to be at a craft fair and sell my photos, you know, and get out there. But I also want to work on my portfolio too, because, you know, I want to get out there and I want to do portraits. Okay, I want to do senior portraits, which I've never done before. I also want to do event photography. Now, I know that in November of this year, the Bangor Comic Con, which is renamed by now, I think it's like Pine State Con or something like that. And I want to be able to go there and get photos of the events that are happening and the events that are happening and the people who are attending and the cosplayers and the vendors and the cosplay contests, all these other things that are going on. I want to be able to get good shots of the event. The only stipulation is this is that, I really want to get into event photography like the Comic Con, but um, I don't want to take photos that are not allowed. So, like, say for example, if I see a celebrity guest that is there signing photographs or autographing photos or whatever it is, I want to know that it's okay to take these shots because this is a life changer. This is when this person came to Comic Con in Maine. It was like a couple of years ago. I went to a con and they had it at the Bangor Mall, and the actors from the movie Clerks was there, and there was a huge line waiting to see these guys. And so anyway, so they saw it. But when I was there, I brought my camera with me to take some shots of the event. But I didn't really get a whole lot of shots. I was too more into seeing celebrity guests and walking around, seeing the vendors and all this other stuff. Um, but I really want to try my talent of doing event photography and doing, shows, doing events like the Comic Con, being able to do that. And I also would like to, in August of this year, of the Skowhegan State Fair, I tried taking some good shots of the fair that year. And I went there, took a day, went there a little bit early before the Midway opened, and got some really good shots of like the tractor pull, which I got to do get more shots of the tractor pull. Got to get more shots of animals and whatnot. Um, but I would love to be able to go there for the length of time the fair is there. So I think the fair is there for about a week, maybe. Um, Saturdays are usually their busiest day. That's because it's really crowded. But I want to try to get pictures of events that are happening throughout the time that the fair is there. So, like, say the soapbox, not soapbox derby, the derby that's there. I mean you know um, crash derby, whatever you want to call it. Tractor pulls, um, horse harness racing, demolition derby. That's what it was. Demolition derby. Not soapbox derby. What are you talking about? No, demolition derby. I want to get photos of that too, and I also want to get some night shots as well of the rides lighted up and get it going in motion. There's also a feature on some cameras where they are able to take a photo of a ride or whatever. And what I want to be able to do is take a shot of a ride that's lighted up and get like I don't want to say it. It's a shot, but in movement. I want to get the shot in movement, but I want the lights to kind of go with the. I don't know how to explain it. It's difficult for me to explain. But anyways, I want to get night shots of the fair, and I want to get an aerial shot of the fair as well. Speaking about that, which is another segue, is I actually bought myself a drone, and here's why I bought a drone. Okay, which I'm still trying to figure out the mechanics of it because right now I'm trying to calibrate it. I'm calibrating it one way, and then it wants me to calibrate it this way vertically, and I'm having a really hard time with that. And I'm looking up on Google, looking up on YouTube of how to get this fixed. But anyways, I bought a drone, and here's the reason why I bought a drone and how and what made me buy a drone. Okay, um, a couple of weeks ago, I brought my dad to go see a house. He's looking for a house to buy, to purchase, and whatnot. And I happened to be at his house, and I don't know why I was at the house. I was there for some reason, and um, he's like, "You want to take me over to see this house?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." So I get to the house. It's in Pittsfield, and my dad gets shown the house, and whatnot. And by the end of the visit, not my But the realtor that was showing the house to my dad comes up to me in my car, knocks on my window, and I roll this window down. And she asks me if I do photography. And I'm like, yeah, I do photography. I got a magnet on my car that says Wheels on the Road Photography, and I got my saying underneath it with my phone number. And she asked me if I did aerial photography. Like, do you have a drone? And I'm like, no, I don't have a drone. So that kind of triggered me to want to buy a drone, because that way I can take photos for realtors of houses, and that could be a good side gig for what I want to do. So I don't know how much they pay, but if the money's there to be able to do it, then I'm all for it. But I got to figure out this drone, because right now I'm having a really hard time getting it calibrated, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I think I'm doing it right, but then for some reason lights don't turn green, solid green, they turn red. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So I got to figure it out. Anyways, but the other thing about that too is, like, if I'm at an event like a Comic-Con, I would love to be able to take an aerial shot of the Comic-Con and be able to go around and take some shots with the drone, you know. But a lot of people do attend, and it's going to be a pricey time going there. So if Bangor Comic Con happens to be watching this video and you want to support my efforts of doing event photography like what I would like to do, help me out somehow, because I would like to go to all 3-day events. And I'd be willing to stay in the hotel that's across from the Cross Insurance Center as well to be able to take these shots. Just show me and tell me what kind of shots you're looking for, and then I'll work at it and see where it goes from there. So yeah. What else did I want to say? So I want to do event photography. I want to do senior portraits. But going back to the gentleman, the vendor at the Whoopie Pie Festival. So we get talking. I ask him about his pricing, what he's looking for, what he does. And what's funny about this, okay, I went in and saw him, earlier. I was looking at his photos and whatnot, and trying to figure out, okay, what kind of prices that he does for his photos and whatnot. And as I was in there looking, there happened to be a gentleman and his wife there, and the gentleman asked this guy who's running the vendor, he's asking the vendor about pictures and whatnot. And I hear his answer, and I say, well, I'm not really doing this as full time. I'm just doing this part time. I don't have a Facebook. I don't have a business card. I don't have this. I don't have that. Which then triggered me of saying, hey, this is something, this guy's looking for something, but the vendor is not really providing a means to serve this guy of what he's asking for. So as I'm leaving the vendor and this guy's walking out from the vendor, I come up to him and I say, hey, sir, here's my card. I'm a photographer as well. If you need anything, just call. Well, I didn't really say that. I said, hey, I'm a photographer too. Here's my card, So I gave him my card and I just walked off. Then I started doing a video, and I got thinking about, and which is the video that you watched earlier, and I said to myself, I got to go back and see how much he's selling his photos for. And I got to tell you something. I mean, and it's like what my dad said, no one's going to buy photos in a plastic pocket sheet. People would like to buy photos that are already framed, But before I do any craft fairs, before I do anything like that, I need to get my inventory up. I gotta do more 4x7 photos. I gotta get more frames. I gotta pick and choose what photos are worth framing, stuff like that. And kind of go from there, what I'd like to do with the photos. But going back at the Whoopie Pie Festival, if I haven't mentioned this before, but I know in earlier videos I said I got to get there a little bit earlier than leaving the house at 9:30 and getting there at 10, because there was a lot of traffic. But I'm hoping that next year, and if the Maine Whoopie Pie Festival is watching this, I would love to be an event photographer for you. So I'd like to get there a little bit. It's kind of a benefit, like, hey, I'll get there a little bit earlier if you want me to take some photos of your events and whatnot and go from there. So it is what it is. So there's another thing I was going to say too. Um, what was it? I thought of it and now I lost it. I lost it. Events, being an event photographer, going to Comic Cons. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Um, I'm also, oh, there's another thing too. Okay, before I go to that segue, I got to go to this segue. So while I was there at the Whoopie Festival, I was standing in line, and I happened to look over to my left, and there was this couple, and I kind of mentioned it in the earlier video too, before it got cut out. But there was this couple, looked like a father and wife, husband and wife, and their son. And I happened to look, and they happen to have a drone, which I thought, oh, cool, they have a drone. I wish I had my drone, if I could figure it out, but they had a drone. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, whatever. And then later on, as I'm standing in line waiting to get purchase a whoopie pie, I happen to see their son, which I believe was their son, and this husband and wife duo, and they were interviewing people and they were doing their own vlog with this really nice setup of a camera. And and the kid had headphones on. I mean, everything that works. And I'm thinking to myself, I really wish that I could do that. I really wish that I could be able to do vlogs like that and interview people and go from there. But that's like what I wanted to do earlier when I started doing photography, was that I wanted to, with photography and being on the road, like how I would like to be, I would love to be able to go down the road and find people and listen to their stories. That's what I'd like to be able to do, is go down a rural road or going somewhere rural or somewhere in the city or somewhere, whatever, and be able to capture a story that someone wants to share. You know, um, I would love to hear your story. I'd love to take your picture, and I'd like to get to know you and interview you and see where, you know, I would love to hear your story. I love stories. Don't get me wrong. I love stories, but I would also really love it if I could hear your story and go in from there and see what happens. Which then goes to my next segue. Okay, and like I showed you in those pictures before, before in the back, air shows. So about last year, I went to an air show in Brunswick, which was a really great show. It was the Thunderbirds. They were flying. They were doing their thing. Never got to see the Thunderbirds before, and that was the first time I ever saw the Thunderbirds. And so they were there in Brunswick, and I wasn't quite sure what kind of photographs I wanted to take. And there was this guy that was there. He had a camera, and I don't understand this. Okay, maybe a lot of you photographers that are out there that are watching this. But this guy had a camera. He had a Nokia, I think, or a Canon. No, a Canon camera. Do Nokias actually sell cameras? No, I don't think so. But I think it was a Canon camera. And it was this really big, blocky kind of camera. And it had a lens. Okay, get this. Had a small lens on the front, and it just grew and grew and grew. And so his lens, his lens, whatever you want to call it, was really huge. And I'm thinking to myself, what kind of pictures do you take with a huge lens like that? How do your photos come about when you take photos like that? I know I'm talking with my hands. Sorry. And I kind of got like camera envy. I was like, really, I wish I could take pictures like that and see what kind of pictures he does. And then I happened to go on Facebook the next day and saw some pictures of the air show that I was attending at. And there were a lot of great photos that some photographers captured. And I was like, I wish I could have captured that. That was a perfect shot. I mean, but as I'm learning, as I'm an amateur photographer and as I'm growing into photography, I realize that there's a lot to learn in photography. The lighting, the positioning, the camera angles, whatever. Find those camera worthy pictures. It was like today at the Wolfie at the festival today. When I was there, I wasn't taking any shots of anything, and I was like, what kind of shots can I take that are camera worthy for me to take, and as an event photographer. So I thought about it and I said, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to take photos of the vendors and photos of the people waiting in line and just all this monotonous that's going around. So I took photos of that. But if I'm going to be an event photographer, I got to figure out, okay, where and what is worthy of a photo shot. I got to find that niche. And when it comes to me, it comes to me. And that's what I kind of said to myself. I said, well, you know what? If it happens to come to me, I will think about it and I will do it and I will go from there. So, but I want to be better at photography. I want to learn, and I would love to go and take a class. I'd love to go online and take classes. I'd like to go somewhere in the state of Maine and take classes and be hands-on. Um, but there really isn't a whole lot of classes that I can take. I mean, there are classes that I can take, but it's just a matter of time and effort. So, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to end this video for now. I got photos to put together. I got to get this video together. Um, and I hope that you enjoy this video and the vlog. There was another thing too. I heard a guy say there's a lot of people here vlogging, and there happened to be a woman and a husband, and I think it was a husband and wife, and they were doing a vlog too, and they were doing like the taste test, taste sample, whatever. Um, but I was there with my camera, and I don't know. Anyways, so I'm gonna end this video for now. I've been talking for about 30 minutes, which is good. What else do I want to say before I end this? So I'll do more videos like this in the future. And if you like this video, if you like what you see and would like to continue to see videos like this and would like to continue to see my growth in photography and like to see my growth in being on the road and traveling, like this video and subscribe, and you'll probably see more videos like this in the near future. And there's another thing too, and it's not mentioning about the Whoopie Festival or whatever, but coming probably next weekend, my birthday weekend, if I can get my drone figured out by then as well, is I'm thinking about taking a trip to northern Maine and going to Eagle Lake. It's in the Aroostook County area, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. But up near Eagle Lake is what are called ghost trains. And they've been sitting there for quite a few years. Not quite a few years, several years. A lot of people have taken the opportunity to take a travel up there and see those trains. And I remember one year I was attending a church, and the pastor or the reverend or whoever you want to call him was telling me about how one of his family members and their wife and the kids went up to Eagle Lake to go see these ghost trains. And I'm thinking to myself, I really want to go do that. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to travel and take photos like that and have a drone and take aerial shots like that. I want to be able to do that. But I never had the opportunity to do it. So I'm going to take the time on my birthday weekend and probably take a trip up there and go check it out and see what it's worth all about. And I heard it's quite the hike in as well. I'm not 100% sure. But while I'm going up there, I'm going to stop at a few yard sales probably. I'm going to stop at a few stores, buy some souvenirs, get some good pictures on the way, and going from there. So, but if you want me to do an Eagle Lake video, let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe to this channel, and however you want to follow. You're following me is really appreciated and gives me the encouragement that I need to be able to produce more videos like this and be able to vlog like this and be able to talk like this and get out there. So it is what it is. So originally, not that it matters, and it doesn't matter. I'm not going to mention it. But anyways, so make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. And you'll see more videos like this in the near future. And I hope to see you in the next one. And I appreciate your support. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.